Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Psychic Hour. I'm Kristi Brower, here with my sister, co host, and partner in all things psychic, Katie Weaver. Hey, Katie.
Hey, everybody. How's it going?
It's good. How are you?
Well, I'm amazed that you're cold, and we had to wait a minute to start so she could run get a jacket. It is 90 degrees outside.
It is, but the air is on in my house, and all of a sudden I'm like, I'm freezing to death. Yeah.
We just came
So,
from a wedding reception
mm-hmm.
in a barn, and it's
Ooh.
90 degrees outside,
Oh, I bet that was hot.
and it was 90 degrees inside.
Right.
Yeah. I could
Well,
not wait to get back to the AC in the car. Holy hell. Yeah.
oh. Well, if we're not bitching because it's cold, we're bitching because it's hot.
We will not be happy.
No.
God damn it.
Well, welcome everybody. It's nice to be here with you. Welcome, Cranky, RJ, Bianca, Sherry, Barbara, Renee, Lana, Kokomoko, Kathy. It's nice to have you all here with us tonight.
You bet.
Lauren, welcome. And so, of course, it's Thursday night. So, what'd you have for dinner?
Well, we haven't had dinner yet. We'll probably have like a peanut butter sandwich or nothing,
Oh,
some Powerade because the fancy fish truck was in town today. So we had
oh, right.
fancy fish truck late in the day for lunch, so not much of a dinner. We'll just call it fancy fish truck. Yeah.
There you go. Fancy fish truck.
That's what we
Well,
had.
we had Chili's because I was laying on the couch and Rhonda didn't want to cook either. So we
Oh,
door dashed tonight.
oh Chili's.
Yeah.
I heard chili and I'm like,
No.
again, it is 90 degrees outside.
Right. No,
You don't seem
Chili's.
to know that.
I know. I'm all confused. I don't know what season it is.
Right.
Hey, Brandy, JR, welcome. Hey, Jody. Let's see. Cranky had scrambled eggs and waffles. Nice. I always love a breakfast for dinner.
Me too. I wish anyone else in my house did.
Yeah,
I'm the only person that likes breakfast for dinner. Rude.
that is rude.
Hmm.
Barbara says it's too hot yet, but later there will be shrimp cocktail.
Nice.
Sherry said, made my 14-year-old make grilled cheese and chips. Good job.
On point, Sherry.
Teaching
Yes.
those life skills, Sherry. Way to go. Lauren, pizza, which my son asks for every night. Renee, multi-grain Cheerios, dry. Ooh, living it up, Renee.
There you go, Renee.
Lana says it's an everyone fend for yourself night. See, you do one of those and then you make breakfast. That's what you do.
There you go.
Brandy, Arby's fries, and a cold diet Dr. Pepper.
Oh, I'm down with
Uh,
that. I'm always good for a
Kathy,
fountain diet Dr. Pepper. Oh, yeah.
mm,
Mm-hmm.
Kathy says I had a boring salad. Hey, Cindy. Coco, what's Cane's? Oh, is that a restaurant? That's a restaurant name, duh. I'm like racking my
Oh,
brain.
wait a
Sugar
minute. Is
Cane?
that Raising Cane's?
Oh,
Because we
maybe.
just got one of those in Idaho Falls, and oh my God, they're delicious.
Really? We have one?
Yeah.
Where at?
Over by Kara's house.
Oh, I did not
And
know.
it's like right
Oh,
around
a
the
chicken
corner.
place. Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Wow. Renee
Mhm.
says too hot to eat or cook. Jody,
Mhm.
too hot to cook. Ugh. Dang it, everybody, with this hot weather,
I
right?
know. Who said it was like 115? Who said that?
I think that might have been Renee. I'm
Oh,
not
good
sure.
lord.
Whatever it was,
That's a
my
hard no.
condolences, because that is
Yeah.
horrible.
Yep.
Cindy, been indulging in barbecue something. I don't know what that
Mm,
says. And Oregon Bay shrimp Louis. Nice.
nice.
Very good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Looks like
yeah, Raising Cane's. Yeah, I haven't tried the one here. I didn't even know we had one. So,
we also have a new Hawaiian place whose
mm-hmm.
name I cannot think of.
Mobetta's or
Yes, Mobetta's. My God, have you guys had Mobetta's?
very good.
Oh, delish. Yeah. Oh, Cindy
Cindy
had
had
oh, it's
steak.
steak. She's been barbecuing steak. Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Oh, is that what
Hey,
that is?
Patricia. Yeah.
I'm old and with and without glasses, can't tell. Barbara, I'm with Renee. It's 108 at 6 p.m. Hey, Patricia. Hey, Kathy. Come to San Diego. It's beautiful here. Yeah, I bet it is. I bet it is. It is generally beautiful in San Diego.
I'll bet.
Yeah.
Well, we this afternoon sat down and recorded both Patreons for the month,
Yes, we did. Look at
and
us
they
being
are
all ahead of the
both
game.
barn burners.
Yes, they
They're
are.
so good.
We do give our take on Teal Swan
Mhm.
in one of them. And in the other one, what did you call it? Oh, Dunderheads Across the World. Just dumb criminals as far as the eye can see. It was great.
Oh my gosh. I found some awesome ones. It all started with a TikTok I saw this afternoon about a guy in Brazil who was robbing a or a glue factory to huff glue. It's
Mm-hmm.
not paint, it's glue the whole
It's
time.
glue.
It's never paint. Uh, anyway, he opened the glue to huff it in the factory. He couldn't even wait till he got outside and dropped it, and in the process dropped another and spilled glue everywhere and fell in it. And that's where the police found him. Very much fine, but stuck to the floor, and we're assuming high as balls. Yeah.
Yeah. That I would like to hang on to my brain cells. Thank you very much.
Ooh. Oh, Renee, that's
Oh,
insult to injury. She said it was hot as blazes in my craft house. Went upstairs only to find the hose to the AC had popped out and it was blowing hot air in. Like she needs more hot air. Oh, good Lord. That's
yikes.
a
That
hard
sounds
pass.
super hot.
Kathy says, come to San Diego. It's beautiful here. I'm packing my bags. Let's get
Yeah.
ready.
Let's
Yes.
do it. Let's do it. Well, I was just in Oakland a couple weeks ago and it was beautiful there too.
Hmm.
Going again in July. I hope it stays beautiful. I don't know if it gets much
Right.
hotter. Be nice.
I don't know. You guys know our dear Kelly that comes on the show and does like astrological.
Yes.
I almost said interventions. That would be interesting.
Mm. Mm.
Anyway, assessments. She lives in Bakersfield and they get
Yes.
like insanely hot, insanely, unrelentingly, horrifically hot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Cindy says, "Oh my heavens, daughter and I are sickened at the swan." Yeah.
Hmm.
Um, we did it on Patreon just for our own protection. So please feel free
Hmm.
over there if you want to join our Patreon. If you haven't already, it's not expensive. 5 or 10
Yeah.
bucks a month, or 20 if you want the videos. We'll get you 10 or 20 will get you both episodes that we do every month. 5 will get you the first one, and Teal Swan is the first one. So go join our Patreon. It helps support us. But then you can see that we do things that we want to be a little careful about behind our paywall. So but it's just,
In case it opens us
patreon.com,
up.
True Crime Paranormal.
Yeah. Some people are litigious, or we've done a lot of cults lately, and cults can be a little frightening.
Yeah,
So,
definitely, definitely, and yeah, we just kinda wanna be careful, so
hmm,
yeah. Hey, Paula, Corin, welcome, welcome. Nice to have you all here.
yeah.
So, tonight, we wanted to talk a little bit about resilience. Resilience is a skill that some of us learned as kids and some of us didn't. And
Hmm.
it is something that can be learned. But if you have trouble bouncing back from a difficult situation, trouble recovering, or just trouble handling stressful situations, I feel like it's important to work on resilience just for everybody to help us better manage the things that we go through in life.
Hmm.
So, Katie, when I say that word resilience, what comes up for you?
Resilience for me, I think, is the ability to bounce back. It
Mhm.
doesn't mean you bounce back as the same person you were or in the same place in your life, but the ability to get back up after you've been knocked down. Yeah, we all get knocked down, and sometimes people get knocked down repeatedly. close
Mhm.
together, and then you have to figure it out, like, how do I put myself back together? And just like grief, I think there's no one cookie cutter pat answer for resiliency,
For sure.
and you hear a lot of people talk about resiliency, and I think resiliency is extremely important.
Mhm.
But I also feel like everyone's life path has been different, everyone's struggles have been different, everyone's
Mm.
upbringing was different, and it's going to look different for every single one of us,
Yeah.
just like grief.
Yeah. Very much so. Very much so. So, give us a couple of your own tips when you are looking to bounce back, when you're needing to be resilient. What do you do?
One thing that I've been kind of notorious for, I think, is just trying to find the humor in everything, you
Mm.
know, that
Yeah.
lighten things up a little bit.
Mhm.
And I think really we got that from our dad. He was really good at levity. Uh,
Mhm.
Sometimes
Yes.
too good, sometimes we were too good and laugh at funerals and shit like that. But it's why we're really not allowed to go to church at all because of things like that. But
Darn. Darn, darn, darn. I'm always wanting to all the
look
time thinking,
look what we
"Why don't I
did.
go to church more often?" No.
Yes. But for me, I think, yeah, looking for humor in things, trying not to take myself too seriously. But one of the pieces of resiliency for me is applying the four agreements.
Mm. Mhm.
I think that the four agreements should be something that is in the empath handbook,
Yeah.
but I also think that the four agreements is a really good guide to working on resilience and giving yourself, some a little handbook in resilience, I guess.
Mhm.
So, and I don't if you guys are familiar with the four agreements or not, I don't know. I've talked about them here sometimes, but the four agreements are based on a book by Don Miguel Ruiz. And Don Miguel Ruiz was raised in Toltec wisdom. And
And
these are agreements in Toltec wisdom that were passed down to him from his family. And he's gone on to write other things and do other stuff and whatnot. But, per normal with a lot of spiritual writers, their first work is almost always the best work
yeah,
because it's the inspired work before the publisher got a hold of them and said, "We were thinking you should write a book about this," you
right.
know? And so this is, in my opinion, his best work. But I will tell you what the four agreements are. Oh, well, that isn't great. Be
Mm.
impeccable with your word. Don't take anything personally. I think that's huge when developing
Huge, huge,
resilience.
huge.
Don't make assumptions and always do your best. Your best isn't perfect. Your best isn't somebody else's best. Maybe your best is getting your ass out of bed today and taking a shower. Good enough, right? It
Mhm.
there's Your best doesn't have to be climbing the tallest mountain. It doesn't have to be pretending like you're not hurting when you are. Your best is the best you can do for yourself. That's
Yeah.
all.
Yep.
So those are a few thoughts for me. I have a few tips on that too, but we can get into that later.
Sure. I love that. I particularly love don't take anything personally.
Mhm.
So true. We're all just focused on ourselves. And so we think about ourselves. We don't think other people think about ourselves. We think they think about us. But no, that's not true. We're all thinking about ourselves. We're very
Mhm.
self-focused beings. And
Mhm.
and so often people's reactions are not about us at all.
Oh yeah. Yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Yep, and we're very quick to find fault. We're quick to find something to be hurt about or be upset about. Our society is really geared towards that. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, your ego is probably also geared towards that because
Sure. I mean,
your
your
ego's
ego
job. Oh, go ahead.
yeah, your ego's job is to keep you alive. That's the
Mhm.
whole goal.
Yep.
And so anytime you feel threatened in any way, your ego's going to jump in to
Mhm.
defend you. And then, and so if you believe, not if you believe, but if you allow
Mhm.
that, it's okay to have that reaction, but
Mhm.
then temper yourself a bit.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. But yeah, cuz yeah, your ego wants you to be okay. So and but the ego has a hell of a good memory.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's
Whirlwind.
not even a conscious memory, but the ego going on "Hey, remember when so and so did this and this was the outcome? And now so and so just said that, so surely this will be the outcome. So you should get upset, or you should get your guard up, or you should be offended," when maybe that's not true at all.
Right.
And that's where that not making assumptions and not taking things personally comes into play.
Yeah, definitely.
Hi,
Definitely,
April.
definitely. Hey, April, we're talking about resilience tonight, so that's what we're talking about right now. I like to turn things into humor too. Um, I am a big fan of dark humor because sometimes you need it.
Mhm,
I'm also a silver lining person, and so one of my favorite things in a situation that seems real shitty is to try to find the silver lining. What's the good thing? How did this benefit me in some way? How did I learn
mhm,
something good? And that's not always easy to do. And I don't think that we should ever minimize our emotions. Definitely be pissed off,
mhm.
be whatever you are, sad, frustrated, irritated. But then look at silver lining because there's
Yeah.
always is one. In the last
Mhm,
few years, I've worked with so many people who lost a job. And of course, the first place to go is fear and anger and hurt. Of course it is. And so feel those things. But here's the thing, you just got this tremendous opportunity to go find something better, to do something you really want to do. Maybe you hated that stupid job, but you kept it because you needed the money, because we're all there, right? We're all
mhm.
there.
Yeah.
However, when that job disappears itself from your life, you get to choose again. And maybe this time you choose something you like better.
Yeah.
So I feel like even when change hurts and is painful and difficult,
Mhm,
it's still an opportunity to look at the direction your life is going and ask, am I doing what I want? Is this really what I want?
mhm,
How can I put myself in the driver's seat of this situation? And that's the key to resilience is putting
mhm.
yourself back in the driver's seat of your life.
Yeah. Yes.
And, looking at, okay, so that just disappeared out of my life. Maybe that's not what I wanted.
Mhm,
However, now I get to look and take control of things and look again and change things. Maybe this is my opportunity to
mhm.
do something different.
Yeah. I love that. And it's interesting because COVID really it created this really unique opportunity for people who lost their jobs, because not only was your job gone, but likely you had a chunk of unemployment that gave you some breathing room, which usually unemployment sucks, but in this
Mhm.
instance, a lot of people got, a good amount of money to live on. And it was an interesting opportunity for people to not jump from the frying pan into the fire. And I
Yeah,
know a lot of my clients who lost work at that time were able to sit back, be patient, give themselves an adequate chance to find the right thing versus just taking anything, which is what they would have had to do, in other circumstances.
right,
It's really interesting to see how COVID has shaken up the marketplace, the workplace, and suddenly people are like, "Yeah, I'm not working for shit anymore. You're going to have to pay me well, or somebody else will, because
right.
they will." Very
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah. That has been a good thing, but it always makes me happy to see people taking the opportunity, seize that.
Mhm.
Take advantage of it, you're not don't be a victim in the situation, be in charge,
Mhm.
be like, "Okay, great, maybe that wasn't supposed to be in my life anymore. Let's go
Mhm.
find something that should be, that I want, that I am
Yeah.
actively choosing."
What if it was a job you loved?
If it was a job you loved, grieve it.
Yeah.
Allow yourself to grieve it. Allow yourself to grieve that loss,
Mhm.
and then go find yourself another job you love.
Yep. I think one nice note from that is that if you found a job you loved once, you can find a job you love again.
Definitely, definitely.
In past life regression work, I've had experiences with people lots of times where we experienced a life, because when you do past life regression, unless the client has something very specific they want to work on, a lot of times it's more of a, we'll just let spirit guide us where we go. And you usually visit like 3 lives, depending on how long it all takes and whatnot. But anyway, so we usually go, okay, we're just going to leave spirit to guide, right? So I've had clients so many times in past life regressions that they visit a life that's to me, I'm like, okay, like it's not that profound to me, it's not
Mhm.
that interesting. But it's not my experience, it's theirs, but in my experiences with them, you'll have one that you're like, huh, I don't know. Interesting how often they come out of that session going, I really needed to see myself having a happy relationship or having children or having a life that the kind of life I want. I've done it before and I can do that again. I always think that's really fascinating.
Yeah, that is really fascinating. And it does that does matter that, you can repeat the pattern.
Yeah.
But you also have to allow yourself to grieve. There's nothing wrong with that. You're not hurting yourself by allowing those emotional responses
Mhm.
and the time that you need, because we've all been there and lost something that you loved and that you didn't want to
Mhm.
lose, for
Yep.
sure. But don't get stuck in it.
No, that's the point.
Yeah,
Be mad, be sad, be effed up about it, but don't unpack your bags and live there. That's the problem.
yeah. One of the other things that I think helps with resilience is to start looking at your life in a big picture, in the big picture,
Mhm.
because we get bogged down in details and that can really hold us down. And
Mhm.
so, looking at, okay, in 10 years, is this going to matter to me? Am I even going to remember it? You know,
Mhm.
because so much of what we go through that might feel catastrophic in the moment is a
Mhm.
tiny little blip in our lifetime.
Mhm. One time I was having a bad morning. You know, just a bad morning. Nothing worked out. I was pissed off. My kids were on my last nerve. Everything was, those mornings, by the time I got them out the door to school, I just couldn't stand to look at any of them, or myself, I was just done. And so I start doing housework and I'm like slamming dishes around and slamming the vacuum around and just really having a moment.
Mhm.
And I started hearing laughter from my guidance. And I was like, what the fuck? What's so funny? And so finally I checked in and said, what's so funny? And they said, "Ha, just you." That was not funny to me. What was funny to them was that they were like, of all of the things in your life, we think it's so funny that this is what you're choosing to be upset about. And explained to me that this lifetime, this thing I'm experiencing right now is like a pixel, you know,
Mhm.
on this enormous photograph. And when you're so stuck in this one place, and when you're in this one pixel that sucks, and you're just gonna, throw the dishes in the sink and bang the vacuum around and just let yourself stay in a bad, pissed off mood all day. That was
Mhm.
just funny to them. It gave me some perspective to be like, yeah, okay, okay, maybe I can calm down now. You know?
Yeah. That perspective is super important, and
Mhm.
another way to get perspective is to tell someone that you're close to how you're feeling,
Yeah.
and be open to, am I taking this too seriously? Am I hanging on to this too
Mhm.
much? This is what happened, and let somebody tell you from their perspective, because we get hyper focused in our own lives, and another person, just like your guides, might be like, dude,
Yeah.
let it go, it doesn't matter, but you have to be in a place to be able to accept that too.
Yeah.
But if you can
Yeah.
ask for that, it's really helpful
Mhm.
for someone else to be able to tell you, it's okay, and things
Yeah.
are gonna, you're gonna move on from this and be fine.
Mhm.
We just need reminded occasionally.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. The other part of it is to really support your spirituality. I think part of spirituality is a huge reminder to us that we are bigger than this lifetime, that there's more to everything that we will experience than just this moment. And so spirituality definitely helps. I feel like meditation helps a lot to maintain a level of calm, to just over time, meditation will reduce your anxiety level by quite a bit, not necessarily in the moment, but cumulatively, it will.
Mhm.
So if you meditate or if you pray or whatever you do it, because that is a huge part of learning resilience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the big F word,
Right.
forgiveness.
Oh, that big F word. I was gonna say, just yell "fuck" and get it out. Like
Yeah, just fuck it all. Uh, no, forgiveness. It's a big piece of resilience because either you need to do some forgiveness work for yourself, which is likely because I'll tell you what, we are so damn anxious to make ourselves feel guilty about stuff. It's human nature, but
mhm,
it is something that f's up resiliency and drags you down more than anything.
yeah,
And so, on one hand, learning to forgive yourself and move forward, let go of stuff. Here's the thing, you guys, you were doing the best you could with what you knew at the time or what you had at the time. You
yep,
were. You
absolutely.
were. I don't care what situation you could bring to me, I would tell you that because I know it's true. I'll, when someone dies, my clients, I've seen it in everyone, they feel guilty in some way. Even when it was someone who was, dying by pieces and were ready to go or was, 90 years old or whatever, there's always this need to be like, well, I could have done more. Well, I could have sent this last card or seen them this last time or, brought a better casserole to the funeral or whatever it is. There's just always that what I could have done that would have been better. And it's just not helpful. And that's just an example, of course, but that's just it, it you have to find a way to forgive yourself. But the other part of that is forgiving others. And forgiving others is a tough one. And I have a tip that I put in Luminous at some point. Oh, no, I don't have it. Oh, well, never mind. Uh, I thought I had it.
You're gonna have to
Uh,
forgive yourself for not having that.
I have to forgive myself. But basically, the idea behind forgiveness that forgiveness doesn't mean that what someone did to you is okay. It means that
Right,
you don't want to pack it around and let you hurt any more from it. And so you're ready to lay it on the table because you don't want to carry it around and hurt and feel shitty about it anymore.
right. No, it's not worth it. You don't deserve it. Neither does anybody else, really. You don't hurt anybody else with that stuff. Just you. Sherry
Mhm.
says, and have a piece of cake. Cake never makes me feel bad. Good point.
See? There you go. Hey Jacqueline and
JR.
Jaylin
Yeah. Hello, you
and
guys.
JR. Yeah.
JR says, I spent a long time internalizing everything, believing everything was my fault and everyone was set up with me. Recently, I realized, wow, it's not all about me. Now I'm
Mhm.
angry all the time of all the time I wasted. Now listen, JR, don't be wasting one more damn second on that. It doesn't matter. You know now. And if
Mhm.
you are angry over the time that you wasted, you're still wasting the time, my friend.
Yeah. And babe, that's just because you're an empath.
Yeah, it
And
is.
empaths do think everything is their fault. And if no one's ever helped them understand that it's not, you were doing the best you could with the information that you had.
Right? When you really feel a lot of other people's emotions, it does feel like everything is about you and is your fault
Mhm.
because you feel what other people are feeling and
Yep.
it goes through that filter of, well, this must be about me, except that it probably isn't.
Mhm.
It's about them.
Yeah.
So forgive yourself, JR. So
Mhm.
you've got lots of time left to be happy and free from that.
Yep. Cranky says, I'm not responsible for anyone else's unhappiness or happiness
Right?
or
Yeah.
happiness. Yeah. So, Brandy, here's what I want to tell you about it. She said, I'm struggling very hard with the guilt with my boyfriend's death. He told me he wasn't feeling well, and I shrugged it off, and he was gone the next morning. It's so hard. Babe, I'm going to tell you something. You weren't going to stop it.
No.
You weren't. And it went down the way it did. And I know it's hard, and I know it's going to be hard for a while. And I will honor that space with you as long as you need. Absolutely. And maybe forever. I get it. I do to some degree. I have not lost. I've lost parents, but I have not lost a significant other. So I don't want to say that I know. But what I do know is that you were not going to stop that. His
Mm-mm.
body was done. He was done.
Yep. Yep.
And I'm so sorry. And I know how much you're hurting, but I really want you to hear that you weren't going to stop that. And it
Yeah.
sucks and it's not fair and it's bullshit all the way around, but that's true.
But you know what, Brandy? He doesn't blame you. And he does not want you to
No.
blame yourself.
No,
I
no,
feel that
no.
very strongly. He does not want you to blame yourself because it wasn't your fault.
Yep.
And the thing is, when people are going to die, they're going to die.
Yeah.
We can't, we like to think we're more in control than we are. And in situations like that, we just aren't.
Mhm. Yep. And you know, he will always be a part of you. He is always going to be a guardian and a guide for you and be standing right next to you. And
Yeah.
I know that's meaningful. Uh eh, that's true. That's him.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But you have a whole chat room of people here that are loving on you and sending their love. They know.
Yep. They
They
do.
know.
Absolutely. Barbara,
Mhm.
thank you. And that is a reminder the super chat is on. If you want to give us a tip, we always really appreciate it when we remember to tell you.
We must hate money.
I actually love it. I don't know. I'm getting slightly better at accepting it and receiving it. So it's getting better. There
Yes.
you go. Yeah. So the other thing about resilience is to be kind to yourself. And if you
Mhm.
kind of crash and burn and fall apart, okay, that's all right.
Uh-huh.
The point is that nothing has to ruin your life forever.
No.
And we can let it happen. We can sit in it forever. That it doesn't have to happen that way.
Yeah.
It's entirely possible to pick yourself back up and keep going.
Mhm.
And it's worth it, you know? It's worth it to be happy, to have the things that you want in your life and to be in charge of your life. Drive the bus. Put yourself back in the driver's seat. Start making choices. Rather than things acting upon you, act upon them. Take control.
Mhm.
And that's a hard part, you know, when
Mhm.
you're kicked to the ground. I do feel like sometimes it can feel like just giving up. But when you do, you literally have just given up all of your own decisions. And,
Mhm.
you know, even life that is different after a loss or a big change is still life. It can still
Yeah.
be good and positive and happy.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Every situation you have in your life is going to change you. Everything.
Hmm.
Everything. But it doesn't mean it has to flatten you forever. It
Right.
won't.
No, it won't. As long as, you know, you're standing up for yourself and driving the bus. Yeah, Jody, this too shall pass. Right. I mean, we've all been through those
Yeah.
things, and sometimes they're fast and sometimes they're slow, but
Yeah.
they do pass.
Yep. Hey, Crystal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, Brandy, thank you so much. I needed to hear he didn't blame me. I know he is by my side. I smell his cologne at times.
Mhm.
Just so hard. Yeah, it is. It
He's
is
not going
hard.
anywhere.
But
Yeah.
no, he isn't. And he does not blame you.
No.
Now,
No.
for resilience, extraordinary determination, courage, and resoluteness in the face of extreme adversity.
Okay. I
We've
love
all
it.
been there. And, just being brave. It's okay to be scared,
Mhm.
but, you can still do it anyway,
Mhm.
right?
So the
Lauren, oh,
oh, go
what?
ahead. Oh,
Lauren says, I grew up with a narcissistic mother, so I've always assumed since nothing was her fault, it was mine. It has taken a long time to figure out it has not been my fault.
mhm.
Right. And when we're taught that from the time that we're little teeny kids, that's super hard because those are unconscious beliefs that are acting
Mhm.
on our current lives, you know?
Oh,
So,
yeah.
Lauren, I'm so happy for you that you have figured out that, in fact,
Mhm.
it was not your fault.
Absolutely. Yep. So the Mayo Clinic has an article about
Oh,
how to develop resiliency.
oh, interesting.
I thought it was interesting because we always come at things at a little more of a metaphysical or paranormal, or not paranormal, maybe, but more of a spiritual slant. But I was interested in what they had to say. So they had several bullet points that I thought were interesting and worth hearing.
Mm-hmm.
They said if you'd like to become more resilient, consider these tips: get connected, meaning get connected in your community,
People
vo-
asking for help.
volunteer, make friends, find a church or another community organization that makes sense for you, but get connected. Make every day meaningful. They suggested do something every day that gives you a sense of accomplishment and purpose, which,
Mhm.
could be
Love
a
it.
walk around the block. It could be doing the dishes today. It could be, something bigger or something smaller. It doesn't have to be something that's, enormous, but doing something that makes the day meaningful.
Mhm.
Learn from experience. Think about how you've coped with hardships in the past. Consider the skills and strategies that helped you through those times.
Yeah.
Good. Remain hopeful. You can't change the past, but you can. I almost said pants. You can't change pants. You really can. Don't even wear them if you don't want to, really. Uh, you can't change the past, but you can always look towards the future.
Mhm.
Take care of yourself. And this is physical self care. Get sleep, eat, have bedtime rituals, exercise a little, do things that are good for your body. And
Yeah.
then be proactive. And this, I think, is a really good point. Be proactive. Do not let things build up forever in you until they come out in ways that you don't love or never come out.
Right.
Get some therapy if you need to. Talk to somebody. Emote, don't just let things be bottled up. Be proactive about what you're feeling.
Yeah. Definitely. Have ways to express what you're feeling.
Hmm.
And let's see, what else was I gonna Oh, cranky tips for getting connected for introverts.
Well, I think honestly, Cranky, what you're doing right now is pretty great. You
Mhm.
know, connecting in ways that are comfortable and
Yeah.
online connections have, while some people would maybe deem them as not as meaningful, I disagree. I
Mhm.
think that for people who are introverts and really doing public stuff is just not going to be their jam ever, why not take advantage of online connections to be the connection for you?
Right? There's nothing wrong with that. The connections
No.
that you access should be the ones that you want, that you're
Mhm.
comfortable with.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Totally. Well, another one for me that I've noticed is to watch resilient people. Pay attention to people in your
Mhm.
life who are going through difficult times, who are showing resilience. And our parents both did this through their
Mhm.
illnesses and deaths. They were shockingly resilient. And I learned a
Mhm.
lot just from watching them. Neither of them just sort of collapsed into giving up or
Mm-mm.
getting a negative attitude or poor me. They didn't do any of that stuff. They stayed
Mhm.
positive and, accepted their situation. Honestly, a big part of resilience is also accepting where you are. If
Yeah.
you're constantly fighting what's real, you can't really move on from it. So, accepting your reality
Yeah.
and staying positive in your thinking are really important, as well as acknowledging and feeling your emotions, because there's nothing wrong with those emotions.
Yeah.
Have them, but don't sit in them. Experience them and then move on from them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Renee said not wearing pants may bring on a whole new set of problems. It depends on if you're in Walmart or elsewhere.
Yeah. Where are you? I will tell you that my son works in a grocery store and recently witnessed a woman be asked to leave the grocery store for not wearing pants. She was wearing a t-shirt and underpants and trying to
What?
shop in the grocery store like that. So you're correct, Renee. That can be a problem.
Oh my gosh. That's funny. That is awesome,
Yeah.
actually. What was she thinking? Well,
She clearly wasn't, I think, pretty obviously, nor was, if you can imagine this, the man with her in the store. And that's what my son was like, why didn't that guy say something or stop her? Like, you need to put some pants on before you go in the store. No, he didn't. Yeah.
I have this dialogue in my head of her being like, "I totally forgot I didn't have pants on."
She did say, I thought I did.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of sad now, actually. Like, where are you in your head that you didn't know you didn't have pants on in the grocery store?
Yeah. It wasn't good.
Yeah,
It was not good.
that's pretty sad. Hey, Jess. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah, cranky, I've seen this too. She said, "I saw a lady in Walmart with a tube top and a bra underneath, plus skin tone yoga pants." Skin tone yoga pants need to be a hard pass.
I right?
Yeah,
Yes,
the
I
people
have
look
also
naked.
seen that. I have also seen
Mhm,
that. Let's see. Amy says, I have to say my brother's death was the first time I didn't feel the guilt, but the pain of knowing I won't see him again hurts. I'm also still not sure I am actually accepting he's gone. It's okay, honey. That's
mhm,
part of the process of grief is you have to give yourself some time for that to set
mhm.
in.
And she said it, "I feel like it's another long-term hospital stay and he'll be home one day." Dude, there's nothing wrong with that.
There really isn't.
That's where you are right now. That's
That's okay.
fine.
That's totally okay.
When you go through a death, people will often say, "Well, I'm worried about so and so. They haven't even cried." Don't worry about so and so. They're doing it their way. You worry about how you're
Right.
doing it.
Let them do it their way, you
Yeah,
know?
everyone does grief the way they do grief.
Mhm.
Now, one time I had a client who her husband died. He had cancer and she nursed him through his death and he died in their bedroom. And it was really traumatizing and really sad. And she just stopped. She wouldn't leave that bedroom. They did not have a service. She didn't do anything. Her
Oh, boy.
sisters had to come live there to take care of her children because CPS was threatening to take them away.
Oh, boy.
And she sat in that bedroom for 2 years, and her family couldn't. They were feeding her, but that was about where it stopped. All of her teeth rotted out of her head because she completely quit. She wouldn't take care of herself. She lost a fair amount of hair because she didn't shower for months at a
Oh,
time. Like,
boy.
her depression hit the wall in a place that she should have had
She
serious
needed
medical intervention.
intervention, definitely.
Her family just didn't know what to do with her. And then she
Yeah.
finally just kind of woke up one day and realized that this isn't the way she wants to live and that she's not doing right by their children and that this wouldn't be what he wanted. It took her 2 years and a lot of pain in between. And she finally kind of woke up and got her life back and,
Mhm.
started. Her sisters helped her to get dentures, get her teeth pulled and taken care of and get dentures and get her hair done and buy some clothes and like start leaving the house a little bit to buy groceries and then started coming to see me for some sessions and started like
Mhm.
trying to just live a little bit again. But the guilt
Wow.
and shame over the way she handled his death was then eating her alive
Sure.
because it was really bad. But it was, again, she just needed more help than she got. I just don't think her family was equipped to do something different. I wish CPS really would have gotten involved because maybe they could have helped get her some real help, but
Yeah, she probably
again,
needed to be hospitalized
she did, but
to get, in a better place.
mhm. But again, it is what it is, but it took that much time for her. That's the one time that I go, "Okay, yes, we would have to judge that level of grief and help," right?
Yes,
But so
definitely.
often I go, "Don't get off of people's ass for the way
Yeah.
they're grieving. Leave them alone.
Yeah.
Be supportive, be there, be kind, love them, but quit telling people how they get to grieve,
Yeah.
especially in place counts of miscarriage and animals passing."
Yes, 2 huge ones.
Mhm.
Absolutely, and it's a very good point.
Yeah.
April says, I wonder why people think online connections aren't real. If everything, including us, are energy, wouldn't that energy be the same as if it was in real life? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. The answer is yes, April, and I know you know that.
Mhm.
But yeah, and online connections are real, very
Yeah.
much so. Corin says, connection is the one I'm really struggling with. I have connections, lots of them, and deep ones, but everyone is so deeply exhausted and discouraged that I'm still unable to find the help I need.
Good point.
Yeah, that is a good point.
Mhm.
And, seeking out this is why I say look for the resilient people around you and learn from them and create relationships with them because you can learn resilience from another person. You can learn it by
Mhm.
watching, you can learn it by experiencing it, even by saying, I'm struggling with bouncing back from this. What would you do? Those kinds of things. So, Corin might mean a
Mhm.
new connection for you, someone that isn't so exhausted and discouraged. And I know it feels right now like everyone is.
Mhm.
And to some extent, I think that's true, but, not everybody is as discouraged maybe as you're feeling.
You
And
know what you might look for, Corin, is
mm,
something more like a hobby group. I
yes.
have to say that in the last few
Mhm,
years, I have gotten probably more, I hate to use the word edification because that sounds so religious. Someone slapped me,
oof,
but more uh support and levity in other things. Like, for
mhm,
example, I'm in a couple of 3D printing groups for women and a resin group and actually some health groups like an RA group and some things like that all on Facebook. And
mhm,
those groups have been amazing for me. And not that going in the resin group and being like, well, I'm having a really shitty day and need support. Some people do, though. Some people do. And actually, the people in those groups are wonderful. I suggest looking for things outside, maybe, of the issue, just other
mhm,
things, other supportive people in other aspects of your life or interests and things that you're working on. That's where I think you're gonna find the people that maybe aren't so burned out, exhausted, pissed off, overdone,
mhm.
and maybe not, but that's my suggestion. That's what I have found, but I know that's anecdotal, but, it's a thought.
It is. I think it's a great one. It's a great
Mhm,
one. Also, because there's something to focus on in there,
mhm,
something to put your attention into.
mhm,
Mhm.
yeah,
Kathy says, whenever I go through something hard, I put on Bob Marley's "Everything's Gonna Be All Right" and basically put it on repeat. I love that.
that's
First
awesome.
of all, I love music as a part of resilience.
Mhm.
You got to have your pissed off music, and then you got to have your pump you up music. That's why I love Spotify or any of the subscription services, because
Oh, yeah.
you can literally listen to anything. And I do have very specific music that I listen to for different experiences I might be going through.
Mhm,
And I love that, Kathy, and I love Bob Marley. So that is
mhm,
very cool. It's a great idea.
mhm,
Let's see. Also, because it helps to shift your thinking. Like you say, then it becomes a mantra and helps me put one foot in front of the other.
mhm,
Yeah. So everything is going to be all right starts going through your mind over and over again. And it changes the weather in your head,
yeah.
you know?
One of the tools I actually brought with me tonight was a positive affirmation tip on building positive affirmations. I am a big
Nice.
fan of positive affirmations if they're used correctly. So here's what a positive affirmations are: a great way to keep your spirit up. So here's what a positive affirmation should be. It should be positive. In other words, not saying the positive affirmation should not be, I'm not going to have a shitty day, right?
Yeah, no.
It needs to be, I'm having a wonderful day. It also
Hmm.
should be in first person and present.
Hmm.
So, not a future thing, but a right now thing.
Hmm.
1 to 2 sentences. It shouldn't be too long, except for if it's a whole song, which of course I could never argue with that.
No.
And it should be placed somewhere that you'll see it frequently. So on your lock screen on your phone, or on the refrigerator, or the bathroom mirror, or wherever you're going to see it a few times in the day. And remember to stop and repeat it to yourself. Positive affirmations are an amazing way to help remind yourself that you're okay.
Yes. It's so smart. So smart. And I love using a song
Yeah.
as a positive affirmation. I think it's a great way because you learn the words and then you sing it to yourself and, over and over again. And
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of listening to something on repeat over and over again.
Hmm.
So I totally get that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's
Yeah, true
see.
crime is a hobby, that's correct.
Yes, it is. Let's see. Uh, Hang on, I missed somebody I wanted to mention. Renee says, my son, when he was young, he lost his grandfather who he was close to and watched die. He never cried, and I didn't make him. He did it his way. Right.
Mhm,
And I don't know, when you different deaths hit you different ways. If someone
mhm.
is ill and their death is expected, it's different. Watching people die of cancer, I mean, yes, I was sad my parents died, but was I also grateful that they didn't have to go through all that bullshit anymore? Yes, I was. And so
And it
there
was,
is.
and that all of us didn't have to go through that bullshit anymore.
Yes,
It's okay to be relieved.
it
I've heard
is.
this from a lot of people when they had a death or something else happen that was large in their life, and go, Is it horrible that I feel relief? No. That's just showing you how much stress and strain you've been under. No,
Right.
it's not horrible. That's
No.
okay. That's healthy.
You can be grateful for the person and for you. And that, yeah, there's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bianca, we've been having trouble getting through to my 18-year-old nephew who's having mental health issues. His
Mm,
father is a big enabler. I wish he would hear this episode, but he wants nothing to do with this issue. That's
yeah.
difficult. But if you've got somebody solving all your problems and you're struggling, it's,
Yeah.
yeah. So you know what needs to change there, Bianca, just like we all do. We've all seen
Yeah.
it.
For sure. Goodbye, April. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Jody said, Travis Tritt, great day to be alive. Oh,
Oh,
that's
that's a
awesome.
good one.
I love
Yeah.
that.
I
Yeah.
like Beautiful Day by YouTube.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
Yeah. I love the mantra that it's a good day to have a good day.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. And
Amy
picking one
said she
beforehand.
Oh, what's that?
Picking something
Oh, yeah.
beforehand. Like, "Oh, I love this song. Next time I'm feeling down or struggling, I'm gonna use this song to help bring me back up." That's really
Mhm.
important.
Yeah, for sure. Amy said one of her processes is crafting. She said, last week was so stressful. I spent a few $100s and have been pouring resin nonstop. I love that.
Hey, if it
Been there. Yes.
right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Mine are these guys right here, crystals. So, yeah, have I bought quite a few crystals lately? Yes, I have. Because yes, having something that feels good
Mhm.
and is positive, most definitely.
Well, and a collection thing, I love that because when you're collecting something that requires some time, some
Mhm.
research, some searching, you know, it's very satisfying to have something that you collect or seek out.
Yeah.
I also think research for you brainiacs that like really like to like learn more all the time, and I know a lot of you guys are like that. Researching is awesome. You don't have to be in school. You don't have to do it a certain way, but if you can fall down the rabbit hole of a subject that you're really interested in,
Yeah.
Th that's an amazing way to just help boost you up and give you something focus on that feels like you're accomplishing something and, filling yourself up. I love that. A
Mhm.
and some things if you can't think of a single thing to research, think about your ancestry.
Yeah.
Think about not just your immediate ancestry, but your further out ancestry and really researching where your ancestors came from and what things were like, what kind of spirituality they would have had, what kind of food they would have eaten, what kind of vocations they would have had. Those are really
Mhm.
interesting things to dive down into as
Yeah.
and learning how to cook that food or, experiencing those things, smelling the things they would have smelled. Those are
Mhm.
things that I think are super interesting and a really good way to just continue to flesh out who you are.
Yeah. Well, and if you go back very far, you discover that your ancestors had lives way harder than ours,
Oh god, yeah.
and they had the resilience to get through them. I like to, kind of think about the women that we came from and the things that the resilience that they developed to live through the things that they lived through, and how
Mhm.
I can call upon that too because that's my blood, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah. Hey, Kimberly.
And
Yeah,
Renee,
most
you're right.
definitely.
Also try to get out of the house. It does good to see somewhere different and other people.
Yeah.
So true. Yes.
Mhm.
And laugh. Guys, laugh.
Mhm.
Laughing is so important and we need it very much so. And so finding things to laugh at intentionally, having comedy or a funny movie that you fall back on if you need to watch something. Rhonda and I watched Melissa McCarthy and oh, I just
Mhm.
forgot her name, Sandra Bullock in The Heat the other night.
Mhm.
That's kind of one of
Yeah.
ours we fall back on is that movie because it is so freaking funny.
Mhm.
Just stuff like that really
Mhm.
helps.
Comedy. I listen to comedy every single day while I'm showering, getting ready for the day. That's my jam. I have an Alexa in my bedroom. I turn it on. Everyone knows to leave me alone because I'm doing my thing and that's my time and I love that time And, with Pandora and Spotify and YouTube and all of the different podcast carriers, there is so much at the tips of your fingers. You can find something you resonate with.
You can, absolutely. It's out there. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
they are,
Jer
Tammy.
Oh, Tammy. Yeah, that Melissa McCarthy movie also. Oh my god.
That one is so I love Tammy
Oh.
because it is hilarious, but also so multifaceted too.
Mhm.
It's
It is
it
very much.
yeah.
Laughing is better than crying. Yes, Kimberly, our grandma and our great grandma both used
Mhm.
to say, sometimes you have to laugh to keep from crying. And so they definitely,
Yeah.
they liked to find the funny, even the dark funny,
Mhm.
to, you know, boost yourself up.
Sometimes yeah. And I know sometimes with dark humor, I know I go too far for my husband sometimes. And it's just so this is terrible. You'll probably all judge me. It's fine. But part of his job as a home inspector is he inspects homes that are that are in the foreclosure process.
Oh, yes.
And we're in the stage right now with there's a lot of foreclosures. Oh man, it's sad. There's a lot of foreclosures hitting the market, but
Mm,
um, practically all of the ones that we're inspecting right now are beautiful 200, 300, $400,000 homes. But anyway, yesterday we went to, and all we do at this point is take pictures of the exterior to prove that we feel like people still live there because
mhm,
the bank just wants to know, have these people moved out yet? Is this place abandoned? What's happening? Right.
mhm.
So we came around the corner to inspect this house, and there was a hospice car in the driveway.
Oh,
And
no.
Scott was like, "Oh, no." He's like, "Oh my god, I feel horrible about this. We're horrible people. This is terrible." I'm like I was like, "Let the bank know that they'll be moving out sometime in the next 6 months or so."
No!
I thought it was funny, but he thought that I
Oh,
am
that's
horrible.
terrible. Terrible, but yes, dark humor. Yes.
I know. Awful. I'm awful.
That
But
you're
yeah.
not awful.
But yes,
Uh,
dark humor.
um,
Yeah.
JR, yes, planning for a bad day. Oils, Palo Santo, sage, music, singing bowl video playlist. I think that's
Yeah.
really important is being prepared in advance.
Yeah.
Just knowing I've got some things around if I'm struggling. Kimberly was a fan of your little hospice joke
See?
there.
And why did I make that joke? Because he was feeling bad. So the empath in
Mhm.
me, needed to just lighten it up and make it like not that big of a deal. So that's where we went. I think honestly, you guys, he would have turned the car around and left and not inspected that property. And I said, we've
Dear.
talked about this a lot. Like people lose their houses for a lot of different reasons. And obviously, there's an illness happening in this house, and you don't
Mhm.
know. This person could be 80, they could be, not. We don't know that. But
Right.
anyway, that's all. It's probably fine. But
Renee, I did see that Melissa McCarthy has a new show, God's Favorite Idiot, on Netflix. It's on my list for this weekend to watch.
ooh,
Amy, I'm also a big fan of ASMR. Yes, if you're a
mm-hmm,
sensory person and you like sound, sensory, or touch, I love.
mm-hmm,
I'm a fidgeter. I have a ridiculous number of fidget toys, mostly magnetic ones. I have tons of them
mm-hmm,
because I love to fidget. So I'm either fidgeting with the beads I wear on my wrists or one of my crystals or some kind of um, magnet. So yeah,
mm-hmm.
that kind of, if you like sensory stuff, that's really important too.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's a great one. TikTok. There's tons of people that do ASMR live on TikTok.
Yes.
Do all
Hmm.
kinds of stuff.
They do tons of it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. Yeah. Your little joke. It went over
I'm
just fine.
okay. I'm okay.
Yeah.
All right. No hell for me. I don't believe in hell. So no hell for me anyway,
Oh,
but you know.
Kimberly's watching the new Melissa Carthy this weekend too. She plays alongside her husband in that one, and they're really, really good together. So I'm excited to see
Mhm.
that. Renee, I'm weird. I love the sound of crinkling bags, like when they open yarn. I bet, Renee, that you can find where someone has made a track of that sound.
That's probably true.
I bet there is, because that's that kind of sensory stuff. It's everywhere now, and it's so
Mhm.
cool.
Mhm.
Yeah, like when people cut, like the moon sand, the sticky sand, and then they cut it with a knife, the
Oh,
sound it makes,
yeah.
that is a good sound. That is a very
Mhm.
good sound.
The foil art that I do, people like the sound of peeling the foil off. It is a very
Oh,
soothing sound.
yes,
I've
it
made
is.
several TikToks of just peeling art because people just like to hear it. Yeah,
Mhm. Yep.
interesting.
I have not seen Eurovision yet on Netflix, Cranky, but
Oh, that's the
will
new Will Ferrell. Will
I
Ferrell.
do need to watch that as well because I do love Will Ferrell.
Me
Ferrell.
too. Now you're doing it too.
Yeah,
Will the Pharaoh. Yes.
Will the Pharaoh. Yeah. Yeah, so seeking stuff like that out, you know? I like glass breaking, says JR.
Oh.
Ooh,
Ooh.
dollar store. That's all I'm saying.
You don't have to wait to listen to someone else do it. You can do it yourself.
Do it yourself.
Yeah.
Do we still have an Etsy shop? Yes.
Yeah, we do. I'll post it for you.
Yeah, Katie will post that for you. M says it was funny and true. Your joke.
Well, thank you so much. I feel better now. Scott made me feel like a monster, but he was wrong, wasn't he? Yep. I
It
figured
was
it out now.
totally wrong. Totes. Yes. Well, you all, we have done it. We are right down to the end of our time. And I just hope that this conversation helped. If you are feeling a little underwater, to remember that there are many things that you can do for yourself
Mhm.
and that it is possible to develop resilience even if you didn't grow up with it. And
Yeah.
it's it's a goal of mine to help people with it because
Mhm.
I feel like I'm very lucky that I have resilience
Mhm.
and I just want everyone to have that. I want everybody to be able to bounce back from all the hard shit and keep going and be okay.
Mhm.
So we'll keep talking about all of it.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, you know what? This is our Thursday episode. So we're done for the week, you guys. We
We
will be
are.
back on Monday with a new case, new cases and everything. But those two new Patreons will be going up probably by tomorrow. And so if you haven't joined our Patreon, do. You'll hear about what we think about Teal Swan. Also, if you're looking to laugh, Dunderheads Across the World is a great episode where Katie just tells us about all the dumb criminals from everywhere. Because the good news is they're everywhere. They're definitely they're everywhere, every country, you name it.
Yes.
So, you know it. We are True Crime Paranormal with the Psychic Sisters. Thanks for being here.
Bye, guys.